Hey there, you're listening to Not Another TV Podcast. This is episode 1 in the week of January 13th, 2023, which is a made-up date. My name is Drew Koenig. With me is my co-host, Logan Dalton. Logan.
Love the new name, new year. Let's go. Even though 2023, it's like the first year I'm like, this is fake.
This is fake.
Like what the fuck?
Someone, you know what? Someone fired my producer. 2023 isn't a real date. Wait, what? I'm the producer. God damn it. Okay. This is the inaugural podcast, the first one on a new podcast, new feed. You'll love to see it. So if this is your first time listening to us, hi, welcome. If you followed us over from the Lost Cause Pod or from Twitter, also welcome. Hello. Nice to have
from
you.
Tins Redux.
Or Tins Redux. Like, we'll take it back even further. With an even smaller audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, we welcome listeners of all kinds of varieties here. Welcomes all around. So, a few things to top here just to kind of situate ourselves in this new podcast. You listen to this entire episode, and you've listened to Lost Cause. You might ask yourself, Drew, why did you feel the need to make an entire podcast, an entire new podcast, if you're just going to make the same podcast as Lost Cause? Which is a fair question that you may hypothetically ask yourself. And it really boils down to 3 reasons that I just want to get through really quickly in a kind of spirit of disclosure, open disclosure here. The first two kind of boils down to like the name, and this is kind of getting into the weeds. We're already into the weeds, so let's get into it. So like I said, the first two kind of boil down to like the name, which is that like I want to say up front that I loved the name The Lost Cause. Like just as a kind of descriptor of my vibe. It fit me really well, I feel. And fit me really well over the course of, the 7 years that I ran that podcast. But like as time went on and like The Lost Cause was a reference to Lost because it started out as a Lost recap podcast. And then as, just as time went on, we kind of drifted away from that and we became not that at all. And then the name didn't reflect what we were doing, which is fine. Like I said, I still I like the name The Lost Cause. The second reason is a little trickier, which is that when I came up with The Lost Cause in 2015, we were pretty much it. Like on the Apple Podcast Store, that was it. Like it was like us and one other person that had a very similar name. And in that time, a lot of like Confederate Civil War revisionists had started to pop up more and more. They were on Apple and they were on Twitter, and it put us in bad company, I felt. And Logan told me this multiple times over the years, and I kind of, hand waved it away because I didn't think it was as big a deal. But like, yeah, over time I started to see like how big of a deal it really was. And like, we didn't get pushed out by those people. Like my life is the same whether they exist or do not exist, but when people go to like look us up on Apple Podcasts or on Twitter or something, like Google us, we might be put in bad association with people that I don't want to associate with, So we probably could have continued on with the name if it was like, but you just like, I don't want my online body of work or Logan's online body of work to be associated with people who suck.
Yeah.
And that's basically what that boils down to. And then the third reason is, and this is kind of, there's no one to blame for this but myself, even though it's not like a blame thing, is that over the course of like the Lost Cause, it went through like a lot of different like phases and eras, and we kind of like switched up with what we were doing multiple times, and there was never like a cohesive thing. You know, like I said, we started out as a Lost recap podcast, and then it became more of a general pop culture discussion, and it kind of more or less stayed that way, but it kind of ebbed and flowed, and then at the end we were a TV podcast. So it was like there was never like a full thing of what we were doing. And so like if it was just like two of those things, I might have like stayed on like doing what we were doing on the Lost Cause. But it's all three of those like mashed together that gave me like enough of a reason to be like, all right, let's hit the reset button here. And also, we didn't do that many episodes over like 7 years. Like, we only had 6 episodes on that feed. So it's like, well, we're not losing a whole lot by doing something new, you know? We're still going to have this, you know, vaguely the same audience that we had before. So, might as well just like switch it up, be like a fuller, like more coherent and cohesive vision of what we want like this podcast to be.
Yeah, I think it'll be easier to find too.
Yes.
We're SEO friendly.
Yeah, and Not Another TV Podcast is you know, certainly phonetically similar to other podcasts, but not this exactly. And you know, and who doesn't love a reference to Not Another Teen Movie? So, which is, as we all know, canonically a masterpiece. So, yeah. So with that out of the way, let's do a little like brief intro for people who might not be familiar with us. So as I said, my name is Drew Koenig. I have been writing about film and television for over a decade now, I think. I think I started in 2011.
Yeah.
And then I eventually transitioned over to writing about TV. That was about 6 or 7 years ago.
Was it Movie Buff Haven back in the day?
Yeah, Movie Buff Haven.
Oh my god. Blast in the past.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I transitioned to writing about television. That was about 6 or 7 years ago. And I've been doing that ever since. I've written for Sound on Sight, which is where not where me and Logan met, but it's where we started working professionally together.
Yeah. I mean, Sound on Sight, like that was definitely like it shut down like 6 years, so it would be like 8 or 9 years ago at this point.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I'm like that's when it shut down. Like,
oh yeah.
No, it's wild, like time.
Yeah. And I've also written at Hidden Remote and Telltale TV most recently, where I was at for multiple years.
Nice.
So Logan, tell the people a bit about yourself.
Oh, and you get the Substack now, right?
I do have, yeah. And that's where I'm writing now at Substack, drewkoenig.substack.com.
Nice.
Or substack.drewkoenig.com. One of the two. And yeah, I ran the Lost Cause pod for, 7 years.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much it. So Logan,
and don't forget another shout out to Tins Redux.
Oh, and Tins Redux. Tins Redux was such like a weird experiment, podcast wise. So like it's almost weird to mention it at this point.
It was fun though.
It was fun. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Right.
It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of good guests on Tins Redux, but it's a weird thing to mention anymore.
Yeah. Top 2010, like wow.
Yeah. So Logan, tell the people a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Logan. I guess I've written about pop culture on the internet since 2013. If you know my work, you probably know I know comics mostly, but I've also written about TV and film, and I think I've even done a little music stuff. If you knew me back in high school, I used to write about sports all the time. But yeah, no, I wrote for, I think my Sound on Sight was my first one, and shit, like, oh my god, going back in time right now. I wrote for the Mary Sue for a minute, the Rainbow Hub, rest in peace. So many defunct pop culture sites, and I think since about 2016, I've mostly written for Graphic Policy, but occasionally I'll like jump up and write for bigger people. Like I want to say, that was last year. Yeah, last year I wrote an article for Book List, which is the American Library Association's magazine. So it was cool. It was like I was in print, but I never got a magazine of it. So it was kind of sad. And I could actually, in retrospect, it's kind of sad, but it's all good. But yeah, it's me. Yeah, and I've been doing podcasts before. I started my first podcast in my freshman year of college in 2011. It was really bad. There actually is still audio recordings of it on the internet if you know where to look, but I'm not going to help you. Yeah, no, I've like always, I've been doing like podcasts off and on for almost half my life, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I got into podcasts when I was like mowing the lawn in high school. Like I would listen to them on my iPod. It was so weird. It's, but yeah, no, and then I like collab with Drew on. I was like on Lost Cause, and then Tens Redux.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I also and I also I've done a bunch of comics podcasts, but for various reasons, that's not an avenue I really want to pursue anymore. I think it's just really over to editorialize. I think it's like really oversaturated, and yeah, so I'm gonna hang out over here on the TV side.
So yeah, that's us. The podcast is up on Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora. I don't know who would use Pandora, but we're there.
Pandora. Oh yeah, Pandora does a podcast.
It does, like, yeah.
God, people still use Pandora. Oh my god.
I have no idea. Stitcher. We're working on going up on Spotify.
Yeah, we gotta get on Spotify.
Yeah, gotta get on Spotify. And yeah, so you can leave us 5 stars and subscribe and leave us a review on there. We're also up on YouTube, where you can also subscribe and leave comments and share us at on all your platforms, whatever platform you use at this point. I don't want to assume. But yeah, we're on all of those. And we're also up on Twitter and TikTok at Not Another TV Pod. So that's all of the places that you can currently find us. So the GOAT is something we're transferring over from the Lost Cause Pod, which is a weekly recurring segment that we do where Logan and myself nominate a best television episode or character and then put them up against each other in a poll, Twitter and TikTok, and see which one can be labeled the GOAT. So I want to catch everyone up because we have some, both just see like the ones we've had as the GOAT so far, and also some minor unfinished business. So we've done 11 rounds of this so far. And so first round, I nominated Lost season 4, episode 4, The Constant. Logan nominated Spaced Epiphanies. The Constant won. Our second round, Logan nominated Abed from Community, and I nominated Scrubs season 3, episode 14, My Screw Up. And Abed won that one. Third one was I nominated What We Do in the Shadows season 2, episode 6, entitled On the Run, and Logan nominated Doctor Who season 5, episode 10. I don't have the episode title there.
Oh, Vincent and the Doctor.
Vincent and the Doctor, yes. And Vincent and the Doctor won. Fourth round was I nominated Kira Nerys from Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Logan nominated The Simpsons season 4, episode 3, Homer the Heretic, and Kira won that one. Fifth round, I nominated Doctor Who, the episode entitled Blink, and Logan nominated Alana from Broad City, and Alana won that one.
Upset.
And an upset win. Round 6, I nominated Legends of Tomorrow season 3, episode 17, guest starring John Noble, and Logan nominated The Boondocks season 1, episode 9.
Return of the King.
Return of the King, yes.
Yeah. Probably gonna watch it on Monday.
And guest starring John Noble won that round. Round 7, I nominated Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, Season 3, Episode 6, Josh is Irrelevant. And Logan nominated Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Season 6, Episode 7, Once More with Feeling. And Josh is Irrelevant won that round. Round 8, Logan nominated Daria from Daria. And I nominated Steven Universe, Season 3, Episode 8, Mr. Greg. Daria won that one. Round 9, I nominated John Locke from Lost. Logan nominated Asuka from Neon Genesis Evangelion. John Locke won. Round 10, Logan nominated Blackadder, Season 4, Episode 6, Goodbye. And I nominated The West Wing, Season 2, Episode 22, Two Cathedrals, which won.
Fucking Americans.
Fucking Americans. Everyone loves The West Wing. Well, most people like The West Wing. And then for our most recent round, I nominated The Good Wife, Season 5, Episode 16, The Good Call. And Logan nominated Justice League Unlimited, Season 1, Episode 2, For the Man Who Has Everything. So the thing about this is that I forgot to do a poll way back then and then continued to forget to do a poll. So we're going to settle this right now. So in my hand, I have a 20-sided dice.
Oh my gosh.
So, how we are going to do this. You are going to pick even or odd. I shall roll this dice. It is nice and 20-sided. So, call it.
I feel like I'm in what is it? Winning time, when they're like doing the coin flip for the NBA draft. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be right or not, but might as well.
Might as well.
Okay, let's do odd.
Do odd. All right, what we got here? That is an 8. So, The Good Wife, Season 5, Episode 16, The Good Call. When's that?
Who did it beat?
I beat Justice League Unlimited, Season 1, Episode 2, For the Man Who Has Everything. Unfortunately.
Yeah, well, you're gonna get hexed by Alan Moore later tonight.
You hate to see it.
Because he put a seal of approval on the episode. Like, he actually is credited in it. Like,
so here we begin a new round for the GOAT. First one for this podcast. And so since I won that one, I get to go first. And so, in honor of the 30th anniversary, happening a couple weeks ago, I think, my pick for the GOAT is Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 19, In the Pale Moonlight. There's a kind of stage play aspect with the framing of this episode where you have Captain Sisko, played by Avery Brooks, detailing this series of events to his captain's log as he sits in his quarters. And it's just him and the physical set with him talking. And then the episode jumps back 2 weeks earlier. And at this point in DS9, we are deep in the war arc of the series. Like, we are deep into the thick of it in this war with the Dominion, who are like the big bads of the series. And you see Sisko is putting up the casualty list of everyone dead or presumed to be dead in this war. And he comes to this realization that if things continue on the way they are going, the Federation will lose this war. So as a result, he concocts this plan to kind of turn the tide and drag the Romulans into the war, who have like historically been like antagonists within Star Trek. They're one of like the longest running backs antagonists. They're like going back to like the first season of Star Trek, the original series.
Damn.
So he concocts his plan to like turn them over to the Federation side of the war, because up to this point they've been staying out of it. They're neutral. They don't want any part of this. So he sets off on this clandestine mission with Garrick, played by Andrew Robinson, who's just he's the friendly, innocent Taylor on the station, who's also almost definitely a spy for the Cardassians. And what you see over the course of this episode is Cisco, who's a very righteous man who plays by rules and is kind of the embodiment of like Star Trek's idea of like the good Starfleet officer. Just gradually make moral sacrifices after moral sacrifice. Just in the pursuit of bringing the Romulans over and saving as many lives as he can on their side. And you just see him like, as he says at the end of the episode, just like cheat and manipulate and bribe and even become like an accessory to murder. And it's all framed like really well by the end of it, of him like taking a sip from this glass he's drinking and just looking at the camera and saying like, yeah, I did it and I can live with it because I have to live with it. It's this kind of examination of like the kind of morals that like Star Trek in itself inhabits, but also war is hell. And war does the worst things to good people. And it might actually be impossible to escape from a war in any type of leadership position without like succumbing to quote unquote war crimes. You know, like,
yeah,
there's no good aspect of a war, because like no matter what side you're on, you are trying to save lives wherever you can, and you're trying to take lives wherever you can. So there's no such thing as like being the good and righteous person within a war, because it's all just a moral vacuum. And it's the thing about Star Trek that I really appreciate, that's always separated it from Star Wars.
Oh man,
which is that, I mean, I don't want to make this a Star Trek versus Star Wars thing, but Star Wars inhabits this area of like, you do good things and like that makes you a good person, you know? Like this whole like dichotomy of like light side and dark side. You do good things, that makes you a good person. You do a bad thing, that makes you a bad person. And if you do good things again, it can make you a good person again. But like that's not the way like human.
But those are those basic ass Star Wars fans.
Yeah, but like that's not the way that like human morality works. Like,
yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Star Trek inhabits so much gray.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like Star Wars has always been more like fantasy myth than like straight up science fiction.
Yeah, Star Trek is straight up science fiction.
Yeah. They got Congress in space. I mean, so does Star Wars, but oops, in a different way.
Yeah. The Star Trek is more about like people like at their core are just trying to do their best, and people do evil things, but there's no such thing as like a straight up evil person. And like that's like the core of Star Trek to an extent. And like Avery Brooks throughout this episode is just so good. He's giving like this one man show in like his quarter scenes, and then just like really inhabiting the righteous man, like as he says at one point, like the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and this is me just like laying down the first brick. Like he's so good throughout this episode, and him at the end just saying like, I can live with it, in a way that's like both telling the captain's log but also like convincing himself that he can live with this. He can live with this like on his conscience. Like it's just stellar, and like Avery Brooks is amazing. So that is my pick. Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 19, In the Pale Moonlight.
Well, I'm coming at the king. I don't plan on missing this time. My goat this week, I kept in my back pocket for quite some time, but decided to break him out for the premiere of the new show. It's Omar Devon Little from The Wire, the seminal show The Wire.
Wow.
Yeah, played. Yeah, I know, right? Like,
Wow.
yeah. Played by the late great Michael K. Williams. And I feel like The Wire is a TV show that just continues to be more relevant in our society. I wouldn't consider it to be a particularly progressive show, but I feel like David Simon's thing is he just holds up a mirror to society and shows at these systems, and when anyone tries anything new and innovative, like, it doesn't work. Like, I mean, you see, like, the one that's always on my mind is when I forget, like, Bunny Coleman was the cop's name, made a kind of neutral area where people could sell drugs, and it's like crazy, but like it works. But like, yeah, it didn't work out. But okay, yeah. So back to Omar. So Omar is pretty much he's like everyone's favorite character in The Wire. I mean, he's Obama's favorite character in The Wire. Except Obama did have to clarify in an interview that he liked him as a character. He did not condone his actions of holding up drug dealers and violence, but he did not, condemn him falling out of surviving a multi-story, which actually happened. That actually, David Simon based that on an actual drug dealer who jumped from I want to say like a 12-story apartment building and survived somehow, which makes it crazy. But probably my main connection with Omar is he was like a queer character who could just, I don't know, like he could just be out here, be a badass, be a key part of this world, um, without falling into and especially for 2003, without falling into stereotypes. And yeah, I mean, he was just, I don't know, he was just such like a pioneering character, and I feel like he gets a lot of love from general TV people, general pop culture people, but I feel like because of his violence, because of he's not on the right side of the law, I feel like he doesn't get a lot of love in queer spaces, which is kind of crazy because be gay, do crime is a thing. But just as our world is getting darker and darker, I don't know, I find more ways to connect with his character, and he's just out here trying to feed the people in his community, and take advantage of the people who would take advantage of them. And also, but yeah, Michael K. Williams was just such an insanely talented actor, and I've watched a few of during COVID, I watched The Wire, but I would also watch commentaries on YouTube. And it was so cool just seeing him, how he went into some of the neighborhoods in Baltimore, where The Wire was set, and just talked to people, and just because he's also a stage actor, built his character from the foundation up. And yeah, I mean, put in the work. So, and Michael K. Well, yeah, but he was one of those actors who I would just always enjoy, even in a random movie, I knew he would always bring it. I was kind of sad that, going back to Star Wars, he was supposed to be in Solo, and I was kind of ticked that for some reason he wasn't in it, because seeing fucking Omar in the Star Wars universe would have been just the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
Come on, Disney, get with the program. But yeah, I guess that's my goat. Started with a bang.
Nice.
And also, yeah, just the way he, I mean, it's an old show, who cares? It's the way he dies is just so, I don't know, realistic, and really connects to the themes of the shows of just life doesn't have the systems in this world, in Baltimore and in the world, don't have these clean narrative arcs. It just senseless things happen. And yeah, he's not gonna, he doesn't go out in the big shootout. He just gets, some random ass kid kills him. But of course, you get the mythology that he was mowed down by 20 gangsters from New York. And yeah, people just, I don't know, just people tell stories to cope with things. And I also like how his character was used to kind of reinforce the whole Greek tragedy aspect of The Wire as well. So yeah, Omar.
Nice.
Someone needs to write. I mean, if it hasn't happened already, someone needs to write a whole book about him.
All right. So that is Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Season 6, Episode 19, In the Pale Moonlight, and Omar from The Wire. So You will be able to vote for this on Twitter and TikTok. And you should have about 2 days once the poll goes up to vote. So that's the go for this week. Check back next week. See who won.
Your Excellence tried the best fighters who've adventured far and wide, but I promise that you've never met a troop so qualified. There's Grog, a mighty giant, he's a simple-minded Hulk, and Percy's pepperbox can blow apart your fucking skull. Nature hath no fury quite like Keyleth the Ashari, controlling plants and animals, she's a magical safari. The twins Vex and Vax.
This is the main portion of our episode where we will run down a list of current television. We'll normally have about 10 shows, give or take. Never let be. We usually don't let be more than 10 though. So our first show here is to just kind of immediately invalidate what I just said. Warrior Nun season 2 on Netflix. And this is the part where like I'm trying to get this one out of the way first because this is like the thing that makes me like this is the angry part of my episode, the episode for me, because it's just what a good and fun show Warrior Nun was. It's also kind of weird to talk about because it's a weird premise. So, the entire premise of Warrior Nun is that there is a secret order of nuns within the Catholic Church, whose entire purpose is to fight demons, and they're led by the Warrior Nun, who has a halo in their back. It's a literal glowing halo that has been inserted into their back.
So this is basically like kind of, I'm getting like Witchblade vibes.
A little bit, like it's very Chosen One, like very
late 90s.
Yes. And there is a certain like campy element to it. But so like the Warrior Nun has been gifted like superpowers depending on who like the Warrior Nun in person is. And through a kind of like a wacky set of circumstances, not wacky set of circumstances, but kind of happenstance. A woman named Ava, played by Alba Baptista, who was dead at the beginning of the show, has the halo put into her back and is brought back to life, and has to learn how to lead these team of nuns and fight demons and stave off the stave off evil in the world. And that's kind of just like the jumping off point for the series.
So it ends after that.
No, like that is the pilot episode.
Oh,
like,
okay,
that is the first. This is where we start as the first episode.
Okay, no, okay, that makes more sense. I'm like, we're just gonna cancel it after that.
Yeah,
like,
no, this is the jumping off point.
Okay, good.
And then season 2, I think really digs into like a lot of a quasi angel has risen up and has started his own cult and basically bringing about the end of the world. And this season really like digs into like Ava and her like quasi friendship with friendship, also like friendship slash something more with her fellow nun Beatrice, played by Christina Young, and they both have like amazing chemistry together. And like that's like a lot of like what people talk about with Warrior Nun is like their relationship together, and like they're just like very charming together. The two of them are incredibly charming. But like digging more into like that relationship and more about like the halo and where it came from. Like it's a very like it's a lot of camp. Like one of the side villains like ends the season with like an eye patch. Like it's a lot of like that kind of stuff, but it's very fun. It's very enjoyable. Overall, it works really well. It's paced really well. Like, this is just something that Netflix should feel bad about canceling. It has really good representation. Like, it has like a lot of 4-quadrant entertainment. Like, it just hits like a lot of grooves really well. If there's one thing that I don't really care too much about the season for, is that one of the side characters, Lilith, has a arc that is like isn't cooked as well as I would like it to. Kind of flips back and forth morality wise in ways that like don't fully make sense, and then flips back at the end, and it's like, this doesn't work as well as I want it to, and I like that character a lot. But other than that, like, it's a really like well written, well executed series. Like, you're right, it has like a kind of even calling it like a 90s action show isn't right. Like, it feels like something that would have aired like in like the 2000s, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm thinking like Turn of the Millennium kind of.
Yeah, like something
Yeah,
similar to like Dark Angel or something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, like,
I mean, I'm getting Witchblade from it.
it's very that. Well, move us along to our next show. Have The Legend of Vox Machina season 1, which I caught up on Amazon Prime Video, and this is the adaptation of one of Critical Role's campaigns. And it's a anime series, and it brings back all the players from Critical Role, featuring Laura Bailey, Talisa Jaffe, Ashley Johnson, Matthew Mercer, Liam O'Brien, Marisha Ray, and Sam Riegel, and Travis Willingham. And this is just an incredibly delightful series. Have you watched Vox Machina?
I haven't. I mean, I know Critical Role gets all the love.
Yeah.
And I think it started that kind of like D&D adjacent media revolution.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, it's weird to talk about D&D in the set while like all the D&D nonsense is happening right now.
Yeah.
With all the OGL. If anyone hasn't caught up with that, like, go read about it, because it's a full bucket of nonsense.
Yeah.
But yeah, this show's so fun. It's so well paced, and it is it feels like one step removed from like something that's like traditionally like anime, like just a kind of like bombastic action and bloodiness and gore, and just like the constant like kind of one-upsmanship that kind of happens with like fighting mechanics in anime, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which kind of feeds nicely into the D&D component of this. And so like it being just like so D&D, like kind of like takes away like the messiness of a campaign and just like presents a plot. And so like it's kind of weird, like you don't get like the kind of like in I would assume like in the campaigns you kind of see like the progression of like why things are happening via like players and game masters, and this is just like straight like what's happening. And like kind of like the fun thing about like shows like Critical Role or Dimension 20 is that like a lot of this is just like, here's a really good roll, a really good random roll when you need it, and like something crazy can happen now. And in Legend of Vox Machina, it's just like, here's the crazy thing happening now. So it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of good voice work that's brought in for this. So you have like Gray Griffin, who's playing one of the bad guys, one of the big bads of the series, and you also have like Indira Varma and Kelly Hugh and Gina Torres and Stephanie Beatriz and Stephen Root and David Tennant for a couple episodes.
Oh my god, David Tennant! Wow, that's big.
Yeah, so it's just it's big fun just throughout. It's big fun. Rory McCann plays a very Rory McCann character. It's just yeah. It's basically what it boils down to is this show's so much fun. It is a delight. looking forward to the next season now. And yeah. It's definitely one to like keep an eye out for if you like either animation or D&D. And
yeah, I've seen the commercials before, like The Boys on Amazon Prime, and I think I don't know when I finished watching Invincible, they're like, try this.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a little bit on my radar for sure.
Yeah, and we're gonna be talking about season. Well, I'm gonna be talking about season 2 next week because the first 3 episodes should be dropped by then. So that'll be fun. Our next show here is National Treasure.
Oh my gosh.
Edge of History, which is currently streaming on Disney Plus. I believe there are 7 episodes out currently.
Yeah.
Six episodes out.
Yeah.
I've seen the first 3.
I've seen the first 2.
Yeah. And what I would say is that Edge of History is fine. It's a very serviceable show for what it's trying to do. And the people, I've seen people talking about it online, pretending like the original National Treasure is a unparalleled masterpiece. And it's like,
oh my god,
let's I love National Treasure. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone to get that twisted. Like I love, the kind of genre of treasure hunting stuff. Like I love The Mummy. I love Indiana Jones. I watch Blood and Treasure, and I love that show. So like I'm definitely like in the camp for this. And like it's very serviceable. Like, but let's not pretend that like the original National Treasure was like high art or anything.
Oh yeah. No, if you haven't already, you should totally read Roger Ebert's review of the first National Treasure movie, where he pretty much is like, "This is a Da Vinci Code ripoff." Like this is the entire review is like, "This is the Da Vinci Code with Nicolas Cage."
Yeah. What does separate the series from the original movie is that the movie is definitely more charming.
Yeah, I mean, Nicolas Cage going balls out, like, I mean, he reins it in a little bit, but like,
yeah,
he's just so watchable. Like,
yeah, the original movie definitely has like a leg up on this, but like that's just like there's no getting past Nicolas Cage. Like,
yeah,
it just like
he wasn't gonna come back. Like,
it just like has like better writing and better characters and Nick Cage, but like that's nothing against.
Actually, the showrunners of National, like the TV show, were writers. I think they're actually on the sequel of National Treasure. Yeah, which isn't as good. I just like, how could you one up stealing the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah, you just can't.
Like they're like, oh, we're gonna kidnap the president. I'm like, I mean, it's kind of stupid. Yeah.
But yeah, like it's fine. Like I said, it's very serviceable series. I think the actual treasure hunting is fairly decent. And like the 3rd episode has them going to Graceland. Like that's just fun.
Okay, it's awesome. I can't wait. Yeah, no, oh my god, it's like that makes so much sense because like, what's his name? What's the character's name? Liam. Like he's such. I mean, and he's such a little wannabe Nashville boy.
Yes.
Like he's like, it's hilarious. Like he's straight up like telling his mom like, "There's nothing for me in Baton Rouge. I'm gonna save some money and go to Nashville." I'm like, oh my god, no. Like this is just too real.
Yeah.
Also, like, what's up with the main character being like a DACA dreamer, but also wanting to be an FBI agent? It like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, no, that's kind of part of it. Like the main character is kind of just a cipher. Like,
yeah, she
doesn't have like a really strong personality, and I think
it's like a weakness for sure.
Yeah, Lizette Oliveira, who plays Jess, is like, I think she's trying to do what she can, but there's just not a lot of meat on the bone, and I think that's true for like a lot of pretty much all the characters here. Most of them are like Gen Z archetypes of like, I think like what boomers or Gen Xers think like the Gen X generation is about. Like the best friend.
Oh my God, Tasha.
Yeah,
like
Tasha.
she's written really inconsistently. Like
Yes.
in like 2 episodes in, because like the first episode you're like, okay, so she's like a vapid influencer type, and then in the second episode you have her in the men's room lecturing a random like military police guy about like the patriarchy, and I'm just like thing is, it's just like it's plot. It's like this show is just all plot,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
isn't like, I mean, I definitely have nostalgia for the National Treasure movies, but I'm just like, I haven't completely written this show off, but I'm also like, how much I can do this.
No. Yeah. And then like, I hate Oren. I just fully hate Oren.
He's a useless character.
Like, he's the most annoying dumbass.
Does he get worse in episode 3, or is he like same level?
He proves his usefulness just because he knows like shit about Graceland.
How does he know shit about? I thought all he knows about his shoes.
He like, I think he's they're trying to write him as like one of those Gen Zers who just knows a lot of like internet tidbits. So like he knows about like weird conspiracy theories.
Oh, okay. Are they going to try to make him the Riley of the group?
That is what I think they're trying to do. Which
yeah,
I
know
really
Justin Bartha.
I know Riley is in these episodes later on.
I know. I'm like, I saw the first episode. Like, also like these characters are so sterile. I'm like, how are they like in any kind of relationship, like romantic relationship with each other? Like,
Yeah.
and if they're trying to do some like breakup, I'm like, okay, like I don't have any connection to these characters, and they don't like. But then like I got distracted by the book with the Riley Pool on it. I'm like, because at first I'm like, well, like Harvey Keitel is. I'm like, oh yeah, Harvey Keitel was a National Treasure. Like, dude, they're like stretching so far to connect it to the. And the thing is, like, they treat like those films like they're sacred texts, which is hilarious to me.
Yes.
Like, there's in episode 2, the like, like hot kind of naive CIA agent is like totally the new Diane Kruger is like poring over like Harvey Keitel's FBI file like it's like the Holy Scripture or something.
Yeah,
like,
and her supervisor.
Like, I'm seeing like, okay, there's like, I'm like just thinking like plot of National Treasure.
Yeah,
she's out here on Wikipedia like trying to catch up on the plot.
And her supervisor's like, I was the one who got the call that like someone was going to steal the Declaration of Independence, and it's like, holy shit.
Oh, they did bring that, like they brought back like the third string, like, oh man.
Yeah.
Like apparently, like as far as I can tell, the only person they brought back that actually matters was Justin Bartha. Which, yeah, I mean, he's not working a lot. He's cool.
Yeah, he's cool.
Like he was fun enough in that role that like my parents named the family dog after him. Yeah, dude, that's like I feel like I literally have a family member named after National Treasure. Like I gotta see it through.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and like the love triangle that they're trying to like build up between Jess and Ethan and Liam, it's like it's not working. It's not a love triangle because like I've said this on the Lost Cause pod, but like it's not a love triangle unless all 3 points of the triangle might get together with each other, and that's not true. These two guys just want to date Jess.
Yeah, no, the Ethan guy, like he has not good energy.
Yeah, it's just a cipher, and like I don't think any of them really have good chemistry with each other. Yeah, no, like I don't care about Liam. I don't.
Yeah, no, like Liam just annoys me.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he's just, yeah, I mean,
yeah. Now with the huge caveat here that Catherine Zeta-Jones is playing the villain, and that can cover up a multitude of sins.
Oh my god, she is so fun. Her in the gift shop just like monologuing about like, what is it? What was that show? Fuck. The Big Little Lies is just like the best. Like she's like, silly millennial with your pop culture reference.
Yeah.
I she's just like her wig, the like just I even find like the really shitty CGI for the like private jet just endearing. Yes. Like I'm like, okay, like this is some National Treasure. Like she's not up there with Sean Bean, but like already like she's like running circles around Ed Harris.
Oh yeah, because she's menacing, like she has the presence, like it's all working.
Yeah, I mean, she's off-brand Mulder and Scully. I mean, as her hench,
Yes.
like, like it's so good. Like I feel like I don't know the actor's name, but like the female like fake FBI agent. I'm like someone like in hair and makeup was like, okay, so do Scully, but like just butcher her hair, and it pulled it off. No, and like that's what tipped me off. Like they were fake feds. I'm like, God, what a FBI agent had that shit of a haircut. Like,
Yeah, it's Scully with the bad haircut and just scarier.
yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, and then it's interesting how the show like I think it's trying to reach like more like a more socially aware generation, but also trying to reach the boomers, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like you got the sins where you have to be like male, and it's just you can't like I don't know like and also yeah like just a different world in 2004, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't and it part of it's like yeah like we'll have a undocumented immigrant as her main character, but she also wants to be FBI agent, and it's just I don't know like I would be really interested to see like I mean part of it kind of reminds me of Alaska Daily a little bit like
A little bit. Yeah.
like it doesn't know where it is because you get like there's like long lingering shots on like the folded American flag, and then you get like yeah the founding fathers were these like punk rock rebels even though they owned human beings like
Right. Right.
like I'm like okay so I don't know what it's trying to be all thing. It's trying to get like the broadest demographic possible. It's trying to get the boomer Republicans and like younger generation.
Hmm.
But like I think both generations are going to come out of it like okay, I feel very condescended to. Like yeah.
Yeah.
And also they're like oh, we're going to be more, we're going to try to decolonize, we're going to be more inclusive. We're going to have the treasure centered around the indigenous people of the Americas, but like they just went with the most like broad. They went with Aztecs, Incas, and Mayas, and
Hmm.
it's just like, dude, the Incas are in fucking Peru. Like that is a very long. Like, Aztec Mayas, they're both in Central America. All right, maybe, but like Incas are in fucking Peru. Like, come on, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like, but I don't know. But I'm like, I'm gonna definitely try to. I'm definitely gonna watch that Graceland episode.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I've heard from people who have watched like more of the season than we have that like it seems like they really enjoy it. So like maybe it does like improve over time. So like that would be what I'm hoping for. So I'm gonna continue.
Yeah, I mean,
Watching.
it'll be nice for the characters to actually like, I don't know, have arcs and stuff. And I mean,
Right.
because you can't. I mean, we already like feel like that first movie, like in a perfect world, like National Treasure is just some crazy madcap standalone movie.
Yeah.
Just like the shit they pull in that first, like. Also, I don't know, like just people using random ass history facts to like save the day. But I also like that like with the Jess's character that it's not just like random ass facts. Like she actually, I don't know, is really good at like reading situations and people and stuff. Like I really like the scene with the job interview was like really strong.
Oh yeah.
Where like oh you don't have like a whole lot of experience, blah 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 blah, like typical like boomer manager shit.
Yeah.
And then she immediately is just like got it read.
Like, yeah, she's just like, no, I'm really smart actually.
Yeah. And basically just is like, yeah, like there's just intangibles beyond like doing the same thing every day. Like, yeah.
Mm.
So also oh my like the fucking puzzle box. like oh my like Hellraiser has just destroyed my brain. So I'm just like just, like I think I'm still scarred from when I watched the Hellraiser whatever remake, and I'm just like, oh my god. But yeah, this is a really like kind of just chilled out like Disney like this shit could have been on the Disney Channel with like better like production values,
Right.
or like ABC Family. Yeah, like
Yeah. So our next show here is Sex Lodge College Girls season 2 on HBO Max. And I finished out the season. Yeah, it's a bit uneven, I would say. There's something, somebody said this on TikTok and I can't remember who it was, but there's something wrong when the best and my favorite character is the blonde rich white girl.
Wow, that is pretty bad. Well,
when you have a pretty diverse cast and your favorite is the Regina George type, like that might be a problem.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I just honestly, I'm just gonna put it out there, and I know I'm not alone. Like Mindy Kaling is insufferable.
Yeah, she might be the problem. Because especially with
Really?
Bella's character this season.
Yeah, she like she's like turning into like a one trick pony, and she's just really insufferable. And I mean, part of it is she liked the turf tweet by J.K. Rowling, but like I don't think she's all that, and it's really annoying. And I mean, I just need her to collab with like Lena Dunham and make that just the most like cursed piece of work of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't love most of the character arcs. This season is what it came down to, and like while it's weird that Leighton is the best character, she is the best character. Like, and like by the end of it, she is the character that I'm glomming onto. Yeah, she just has like the most satisfying character progression this season. Her relationship with Tatum is like they both have good chemistry together. Renee Rapp and Gracie Zini have really good chemistry. And I know like some people are like some people online have like voiced their like discontent that Leighton and Tatum break up by the end of the season, and like I get that, but it worked for me. Because like Tatum is designed like Tatum as a partner is like designed to be just like this mirror to Leighton, and like Leighton even says this that like towards the end of the season that like Leighton is just able to see like the good and bad aspects of herself being reflected back at her by Tatum, and like she doesn't love all of that about herself, and like that's just all Tatum is supposed to be. I like Tatum a lot. And Zini's really good in the role, and I would love to see her like come back at some point. No. I think part of like what people's problem is, and this is something I think I have to agree with, is that there's a point of Leighton breaking up with Tatum and then getting back with her ex-girlfriend Alicia, and it all happens within like an episode. And what the season needed, I think, was to be longer in general, because this is only a 10 episode season, and even if you had like a little bit of padding to just be like 13 episodes, like I think that would have made a world of difference. Or even just like in the season with Tatum broken up and she doesn't get with Alicia till like next season would have been better. But I think the writers wanted one of these girls to be in a good place, essentially.
Yeah.
And none of the rest of them are just like fucking up across the land. Cause like Bella has an intensely weird arc this season, which like I said, I can only chalk up to Mindy Kaling, of her being a character who is so ambitious and knows exactly what she wants that she swings back around to not knowing at all what she wants. Who just like, I think someone said that like she so aggressively wants to be part of like the Saturday Night Live writers room one day, that like she's just so hyper focused on that, and like she does too much, like she alienates people around her, and by the end of it like want to transfer, like. And then like Whitney, a character that like is noticeably just like in the middle of her character arc and also does not know what she wants. And like that's kind of the problem with a lot of the girls, and like that's the problem with Kimberly, who for some reason is able to get with any guy she wants, which makes no sense to me because she's not that character and she's not that girl. But that kind of goes to like for all these girls of they don't know what they want. And even but like the only exception that's given to is Layton, who like kind of figures out what she wants by the end of the season. Like kind of has like an idea of who she is and what she wants to be and what she wants that to look like. One of the things that like I think the show is to a certain extent is the closest adaptation we've had to Giant Days, the comic.
Oh my god! Don't
of like a very in a hyper specific.
Oh, buddy, take that back.
In a hyper specific way.
Okay.
The thing that made Giant Days so good was this is just a story about girls in college who are given the space to fuck up as many times as they need to fuck up before they get better.
Very true.
And I think on its best day, Sex Lives of College Girls is that, where this is watching a bunch of girls out on their own for the first time and seeing the ways that they can just mess up and be allowed to mess up. But by the end of this, it's just a lot of them messing up their friendships and messing up like the kind of dynamics they have and like hurting people, which I don't think works as well as the show wants it to. And it's kind of it's where we're at the end of the season. It's kind of the rom-com thing of like people have to like break apart before they get back together again and be stronger than they were before. And that's kind of like where the show is at now, which is fine. And it like opens up good areas for comedy going forward, but it's also, it's kind of a yikes thing, you know? But God, Renee Rapp is so good on the show. Like she's just incredible. Like she pulled out her Mean Girls role and just like dusted it off a little bit and just like knows exactly what that kind of character is, you know? Like she just knows exactly how to play a Regina George type.
That's nice.
Because she played Regina George on Broadway and will also be playing her again in a movie. So like yeah, she just leaps and bounds like the best performer on the show. And far away makes it worth watching her just for just for that performance. So let's move on to Star Wars: The Bad Batch, Season 2, Episodes 1 through 3, Spoils of War, Ruins of War, and The Solitary Clone. You have not watched The Bad Batch, have you?
No, but it's like definitely one I'm like interested in.
Yeah, I think it's interesting.
Because isn't that what between episode 3, episode 4 world?
Yes. This is set directly after both the Clone Wars and Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, like right after Order 66.
Like right after.
That is so cool. Yeah.
Like the first episode is them getting the Order 66 call.
Oh yeah, I mean you get it. Yeah.
So I kind of have the same problem that I had last season, which is, and like this is something that a lot of people have mentioned, but it's worth like continuing to mention, which is that the Bad Batch clones are noticeably whiter than Jango Fett. And that feels like a problem.
Yeah.
You know, there's been a very noticeable effort made to whiten the clones. And like this was even true during the Clone Wars, but I feel like it's worse here. Where like you have a leader of the Bad Batch is a very clear like Kurt Russell Rambo stand-in character.
Oh man. And that's wild, especially since like Tamara Morrison has blown up so much from Boba Fett and Mandalorian. Like people like know who he is, and yeah, like come on.
Yeah, so like that's just to me and to a lot of people that's a problem and a weird problem with that.
Yeah.
But beyond that, this is like Star Wars, but make it a D&D quest almost.
That's fun.
Because like you have a character who, like you have a fighter, you have a barbarian, you have a tinkerer, you have a small child who's part of the quest. Like, so these first 2 episodes, the Bad Batch are sent to Count Dooku's fortress to get one of his war chests before the Empire can get it. And this is kind of like directly kind of dealing with like Count Dooku and like the aftermath of that. And there's been a lot of Count Dooku lately in Star Wars. Kind of just like
I love it.
dealing
He's
with
such
the
a great
legacy
character.
of that character. And that's a lot. That episode is pretty tense and a lot of fun. I'm just like trying to get around the Empire and try to get this war chest before they get caught and killed. And then the 3rd episode follows a rogue member of the Bad Batch who you're gonna watch the show, so I don't want to give away too much. But
Yeah.
goes on a mission with the Empire, and the show brings back Commander Cody, who we last saw trying to kill Obi-Wan.
Oh man, that's wild. That's
in Revenge
awesome.
of the Sith. Yes,
Commander Cody was like the guy back in the day.
Yes, and it's still like
Like
the Solitary Clone as a title refers both to the member of the Bad Batch, but also Commander Cody. Because like the clones have been integrated into the Empire, but also like you bring in stormtroopers too. And it's been made clear that like the clones know what they did during Order 66 and are kind of fucked up about it. Like a lot of them are kind of messed up that it happened. And Commander Cody's like a very like honorable, righteous dude. You know? And so it kind of gets into like his character a little bit more and some of the implications that come from him. And it's, Commander Cody's great. Like he's not Rex, but like he's great.
Yeah, I mean, but he was a man way before Rex.
Oh yeah, like he was
like
he was Obi-Wan's guy. Like
I mean, back in grade school, he was the guy.
Yeah,
like
so it's so
like,
great to see him back.
Like we were feeling in the movie theater when he just started shooting at Obi-Wan and Boga.
Yeah,
loved a Boga. Oh my gosh. If you want to get a like quick like rise out of like someone over like 40, just start like saying nice things about the prequels.
So let's move on to our next show, which is Abbott Elementary, season 2, episode 12, Fight. And yeah, I've brought this up on The Lost Cause a lot, but Abbott, I won't say it has a problem, but it has a thing where it needs Janine to fuck up every episode. And then, like, learn a lesson, and then kind of just be brought back to zero. And Abbott Elementary's had, like, a good streak of episodes where it's kind of subverted that.
Yeah, no, getting out of the classroom, oh my gosh, like the hookah bar, like,
yeah,
I know we're talking about this episode, but that episode was like, oh shit, like,
yeah, and this is like almost like
even the sick day. I mean,
yes, sick day was great
because like sick day definitely subverted it because she was in charge and like had the TV from Beyond the Grave. Oh my god, so good. Like definitely like video message, like we're at the funeral, play the video message.
Yeah.
Like it's so good. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. But yeah, like with Fight, it's definitely like an indictment of like Janine's like super hyper like toxic positivity, where it's like you can't make people like each other, you know? Like Janine, thinking about this today, like Janine has a problem that like a lot of like left leaning people have of like it would be nice if you could just like make everyone have empathy for each other, but like you can't. You just simply cannot. And like you can't make someone care about another person. It's just just has to happen naturally. And it would be great if like everyone, like if everyone did just care about another person just naturally, but that's not a thing that happens. And it's hurtful. It hurts to actually make it happen, you know? So like her kind of going down that of just like, no, I don't like to be mad. Like, it makes me uncomfortable when people don't like each other, and that being like the problem.
I don't know. Maybe Quinter Brunson has like a humiliation kink or something. And this show is her just living it out. Because I don't know, like I watched like 4 of these episodes back to back, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah, she does enjoy making herself look like a fool.
Yeah, but I feel like when you're like the creator and writer of a show, and you give yourself the best lines and look the coolest, like I think that's like frowned upon.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah.
But
she still gets to give good time. We get to see her like being mistaken for an 8th grader. That was amazing.
Oh, the 8th grader.
like I love a scene where like the 2 girls like bring their sisters out. It's like very like like it had like a, I don't know, like a Pokemon trainer vibe to it. Like
yes.
You're like, oh, they're all nice, but then like, oh, okay, he's like big middle school. Girls are ready to kick some ass.
Well, yeah, because everyone in school has heard the following, like, my sister could beat up your sister. Like, everyone with an older sister said that, or like an older sibling, and be like, my brother can beat up your brother.
Yeah, and I mean, for some reason, this like, I guess it's a situation where like the middle school and I mean, it's good for plot reasons. Like the middle school and the elementary school were like the same campus. Like,
yeah,
it's not a good idea. Oh my god, not a good idea. Oh.
No.
Apparently, when my uncle was in school back in like the 60s, early 70s, they had, I want to say they had 7 to 12 in the same like building, grades 7 to 12.
Yeah, I remember my mom saying when she was in school, it was like K through 6th grade.
Yeah, I think it was a similar situation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they did K through 6 and 7 to 12, and I'm like, oh my god, being
That's
like
wild.
In 7th grade of like 18 and 19, that just is insane. like no wonder he's talking about getting his ass beat all the time, and how like we got him faster at track. Like, but yeah, no. Oh my god. And then we get the fantasy football plot line. I mean, honestly, it's kind of uninspired, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like,
it's nice to see the emphasis placed on like women playing fantasy football.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you don't have that conversation a lot. But yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, no, it's nice. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like just in that way, like, oh yeah, like everyone plays it, of course.
It's funny to watch like Mr. Johnson trashing them.
Yeah, and I'm just like watching this. I'm like, man, my league is so casual. Like I would just randomly pick up people on waiver. Like I wouldn't I'd just be like, whatever. Like I'll pick up who I want. Like like I'm not out here at like 2 p.m. trying to get guys.
Yeah.
Like,
there is like cash incentive in their league though. So
yeah, I mean,
this isn't true of every league.
Well, no, like I've definitely been in situations where like I've been stuck at work and wanted to get a guy, and like it'll like pop up, but yeah. I don't know.
Also in this episode, Orlando Jones playing Gregory's father, which is just great. I love
man, just the total tenseness of him like showing him around.
Oh, God, it's so good. Yeah, I love seeing Orlando Jones pop up in things.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and like I don't imagine Orlando Jones as this type of character, but like he really fits the kind of like as you said, like the stern military father who does landscaping now, I guess. I don't know. That's not a transition I think I've heard very often before, military to landscaping, but it's good. It's good.
I mean, he like, I don't know, just like doing something that like one way and, keeping everything in order.
Yeah. I love that. He apparently hired like a fake stud for his flyers.
Oh my god, so good.
And Gregory apparently like fixes the school everyone else's garden cool.
Yeah, no, that's been a nice little like season long like simmer joke thing, and finally they're like, oh, that's why our garden's actually good because I like fix all your mistakes.
Yeah. Eventually, they're just gonna dial in on the Gregory's autistic thing, but like, eventually they're gonna have to take it to that level. But for now, like, this very like, I love like the mild like neurodivergency that we get of Gregory.
Yeah, no, hit the bar is so good and just like trying to be normal, like just oh my god, it's so good. Just like chilling with his drink, like trying to blend in, but not really.
Yeah, yeah.
It basically is like straight up being like, I only dance to songs I like. And I've like totally been there. Like the DJ will be playing some shit. I'm like, this song sucks, and I'm like, oh man, did they hear me? And then like 10 seconds later, I'm like, oh man, I hope they didn't hear me. Like, but yeah, no, I'll totally be like, this is just like I'm taking a break. Like oh, if they keep playing shit, like I'm leaving. Like I've done it before. Like I went to some indie night once in Nashville, and for some reason they decided to like add like random EDM to like stuff I like, the Killers, the Strokes, like all those bands.
Oh.
And I just like I couldn't take it anymore. Like just like why? Like just play the songs. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like this isn't worth my time anymore. And also like it's late. Like yeah, that whole hookah bar looked so good.
Oh yeah.
And the podcast subplot from the episode before the fight was amazing.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, no, people are wild. People assume I'm like Jacob, but I like honestly don't even listen to that many podcasts.
No, me neither. So let's move on to our last show of the week, which is Mayfair Witches, Season 1, Episode 1, The Witching Hour. And this is on AMC and AMC Plus. So we covered Interview with the Vampire for a while on the Lost Cause podcast.
Oh my god, so good.
It was great. This is coming directly off of that, and this is another Anne Rice adaptation.
Immortalverse, they're calling it.
Yeah. And
Apparently.
I know less about Mayfair Witches than I knew about Interviews with the Vampire, which was already very little.
Yeah, I have like zero not like I think my only exposure to like I don't know, I think I was at work and I think some like high school in Nevada ordered a bunch of Anne Rice books, and I saw it and I went on Wikipedia and I'm like, oh, it's in the same universe, kind of cool. But yeah, I knew nothing about Witches in Mayfair.
Yeah.
And after this episode, I'm still like, huh, like, why do I care?
Yeah. So far, it's definitely very tedious in how it's rolling out like plot and like how this all relates to each other.
There's only one episode out, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Like the pilot didn't
For
really
AMC
grab.
proper, yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm not gonna say how I watched it. Actually, it was free. It was like they do the free first episode, but
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, not going back. Like,
Yeah.
thank you.
If
Like,
you have AMC Plus, you've probably seen 2 episodes by now.
yeah, no,
But yeah.
like, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot. I mean, Alexandra Daddario is great, but like, there's just not. It's just kind of, generic.
Yeah, so far it's a lot of just like normal witch stuff with a kind of gothic vibe.
It's not, but the thing is, like, it doesn't even have like atmosphere to it at all.
No,
Like, there's some cool, like, I like the eyes, like that's cool. That was cool. Like that continuity through I like the dissolve cuts were really cool. But yeah, it doesn't have that. Like, I don't want to compare it too much to Interview, but it just, I don't know, it doesn't have the atmosphere. And I mean, I don't even know if those books are any good, because part of me is like, maybe the source material isn't as good. But
right.
I mean, Interview with a Vampire, like, I was going back looking at like Goodreads reviews, and I didn't give it a good review. Like,
Right.
Like, it elevated the material. And
yeah, where it is right now, it's just being very deliberate about like basically everything that it's about. And it's hard.
I definitely think the art,
it's hard to get like a real good sense of it because you feel like you still haven't watched the show, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is one I know we talked about earlier. Like all these shows are doing chunks of episodes. Like, I feel like this is one that could have benefited from having starting out with like 2 or 3 episodes.
Right, yeah.
Because yeah, at the end, I'm just like, okay, cool. It was just like a basic plot point that I already guessed when you did the fucking dissolve cut with the ice, like at the beginning of the episode. Like, that's my hook. Like, that's the hook. Like, that's supposed to get me to tune in next week. Like, sorry, not interested. Like, no.
Right.
Like, and there's just some shapeshifty guy who apparently is a big character later, and I'm just not interested. Like, and like witches are super cool usually.
Yeah.
Like, the thing, like, there's cool ideas and concepts, and they just can't pull them off.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's kind of like very kind of gender essentialist too.
Yeah.
Like, he's out here like, yeah, I only care about like the female doctors, and I don't know. It's very like 90s Lilith Fair.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, I bet.
Gender separation instead of like kind of working together. Like, I don't know. But I mean, that's probably in the source material because I think these books came out in like the early 90s.
Right, yeah.
So it fits that vibe, even though like the setting's more contemporary. But yeah, I don't. There's not really much to recommend about it. It's just I don't know. I mean,
it's just a lot of place setting.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like, condemn or compliment anything when like they're still doing the place setting.
Yeah, and there's like creepy older guys in it, and like I don't know. It's just
yeah. I do think it's interesting that like the kind of like big cathartic moments the episode gives you of like the Dario, telling someone off, like in a really like in a big sweeping manner, and you kind of like see her almost like shaking from it of like how visceral it feels,
Yeah. No, the scene where she gives a guy whatever the aneurysm is like really powerful.
Yeah, and it's like, but also like that is like a double-edged sword because like bad things happen. So it's like the good, satisfying thing that like you want to happen cannot happen.
Yeah,
which is good writing to me. Like that feels like not giving me exactly what I want because it feels good.
Yeah, I feel like the present day stuff works better than the, like I don't even know what fucking time period it is. Some generic.
That would have to be like. I mean, it would have to be like early 90s, mid to late 80s or something, but like even that feels not right because there's a kind of anachronism to like, I guess due to like the kind of repressed like Catholic nature of it.
Yeah,
that like it doesn't feel.
But like the flashbacks are super like Anne Rice, I would say.
Yeah,
like they're super Anne Ricey, like repression, forbidden fruit, like which like yeah, like she was Catholic. I mean, she was like Catholic or repressed Catholic like her entire life. So
yeah,
and lived in San Francisco and New York. Like everything's autobiographical.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So like
oh my god.
In that sense, like it's hard to say like, oh, this is when like this is set because like it doesn't feel like it's actually set in that. But like the modern stuff feels modern.
For sure. Yeah, no, like, and I think the flashbacks are going for more like trying to go for the Southern Gothic thing, but I'm like, Interview did it so much better.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, even when I compare it to something like Beautiful Creatures, which I think is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
Like even this feels like it falls short, just because like the feel and vibe that Beautiful Creatures had, and like still like operating in like a kind of witchy but weirdly gender essentialist vein. Like even this feels like it doesn't like match up, so it's like it's weird of like you are less good than like the very like YA thing that you should probably be better than, but you are not.
Yeah.
Like that's a rough space to be
in. Yeah, I mean, and just I don't know, just not having a strong like it's a pilot. You got to have a I mean, you got to give people a reason to come back next week, and I don't see the reason.
Yeah, yeah. I have to wait to see like what the setup looks like. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it I'll probably give the old like 2 or 3 episode try, and
Yeah.
if it doesn't get better, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And apparently there's going to be a crossover at some point between this and Interviews with the Vampire.
Have they announced that, or is it just
Yeah,
like
no, they announced that.
okay, so they're just gonna throw that in there like from the get go?
Yeah, I think they said that at the TCAs.
That's wild. Yeah, well, I mean, that's because I want to say it was like a bunch of books before like they even crossed over.
Yeah,
But
so
I think maybe they're like, hey, like Interview's doing great, Mayfair not so much. Like, let's prop her up.
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I forgot to say this during National Treasure, but apparently one of the writers of this show said that like they wanted to bring Nicolas Cage in, and they compared it to him interacting with the lead of Edge of History to like Tony Stark and like Peter Parker. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like so like which Disney suit made you say that? But yeah, no, like I feel like before, if you're talking about crossovers before the show is even aired, like I'm just like there's someone's a weak link.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you know TCAs, like they just like spill a bunch of whatever. They're just hoping something sticks.
Yeah, I mean, and it's happened. But it was like a while. Like I feel like I don't know much about Mayfair Witches, but like they did the full trilogy before, because it's like a trilogy, like before crossing over.
Right.
With the Vampire Chronicles.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't know. Everyone wants their own shared universe, and like I don't know. Well, look at us out here talking about a shared Anne Rice universe. Like,
who would have done it?
Yeah. And I mean, it had a really good first installment too.
Yeah.
Like those, I bet those Universal execs are like, and we wish Dracula Untold could have been like that or whatever. Shout out to the Dark Universe. Oof. Oh my God.
So that's it for this episode. Come back next week and we will be talking about Velma on HBO Max and Last of Us on HBO proper. Until then, you can find me on Twitter at the Drew Koenig, and also on TikTok at Drew_Koenig. You can, and Logan, where can we find you online?
And you can find me at Midnighter Bay BAE on Twitter and Instagram.
Excellent. And you can follow the podcast on Twitter and TikTok at Not Another TV Pod. You can find more of our episodes on Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Stitcher, and on YouTube. And you can subscribe, leave us a review, and hit us with 5 stars. And also recommend us to your family, friends, random strangers you meet on the street, whatever works. You can email us at notanothertvpodcast@gmail.com with any thoughts, comments, or questions you may have. Send in any listener questions. And eventually, I think we want to, well, at least, I don't think I've talked to you about this yet, have some third-party GOAT recommendations.
So I saw it. Yeah. I saw that on Twitter. I'm like, that's cool. That's a really cool idea.
Yeah. So send in your GOAT picks for the best TV episodes or characters that you have. Until next week, we will see you all around.